Clap your hands, clap your hands. Get your booty on the floor. 'Cause tonight we got Disco Tim and Grajigi's got the toe. You know, 1, 2, shabby doo. We got the BC on the west. How's it going, everyone? It's the Dynamite-Gizmo podcast number 11. It's the 11th episode in the house. Wah, wah, wah. You know that DJ sound? That one sounds like a horn, an air horn. If you watch Superstore, that white kid who raps, he's awesome. He does that. Wah, wah. Oh, that was a bad one. That was a bad one. Don't you hate when your office chair unlocks itself and then you fling backwards? That's one of my worst fears in life. When that happens, it's the exact feeling you get in a dream when you're falling. Except you don't get that impact when you hit the ground. That's such an intense feeling. When you're falling in a dream and then you hit the ground and then that's what wakes you up. You wake up like a huge jolt in your bed. Whoo, and you're just sweating, your adrenaline's all over the place, spilling all over the floor. You gotta pick it all back up, put it in a container, drink it, flush it down the toilet. See, when I do these podcasts, I gotta turn the music down, I gotta shut the TV off, gotta turn the air conditioning off, so it's super quiet. And I'm not used to this much quietness. So I put the headphones on and I can hear myself talking. But now I can hear the refrigerator. You guys probably can't. But I can hear the refrigerator. The refrigerator will have you singing on the door. Ooh, what the hell does it say? Okay. It says to you have to traveling in general. So I think it's supposed to say do you, and then some other words were supposed to be put in there. But basically, what the hell? I'm trying to find a better way to transition into these stupid cards without just reading the topic. I'm working on it. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not even close to being there yet. But if you had the president of the United States who's never been to Canada, who's never been to Europe, anywhere, if he's never been outside of... Imagine having a president who's never been outside of Utah. He's just lived in Utah his whole life. But he was super smart. He read, he's got like all kinds of degrees. He's like a doctor, and he's just a smart ass motherfucker. But he's never been out of Utah. Would people still vote for him, or would he be less considered because of how his lack of traveling? Oh my god, I hate chords. I get tangled up in chords because I hate them. We live in 2017 and we still have to get strangled, or we all still die year after year strangling ourselves with chords. 2017. What am I saying? I could totally make everything cordless, but that's expensive. And sometimes when you're recording audio with Bluetooth microphone technology, and sometimes it might just because my technology I had was cheap, but there's a delay between when I speak and what I hear, and so I end up having Oculus technical stinky filties. Chesterfield. Lack, lack, lack. God damn, hoes. Here we go again. We had a little bit of an audio disconnect there. Whoops. I gotta start a timer because I forgot to do that. Hey. 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 Okay. I thought we were losing audio again. I was gonna shit my pants. You ever shit your pants in public before? I once, at my elementary school, I had to deliver chocolate bars. Well, not deliver, sell. Well, delivery / sell. You'd go door to door, and you'd knock on people's houses. And you'd say, hey, would you like to buy a chocolate bar in support of heart and stroke or some shit? And the more chocolate bars you sold, the more points you would get, which would go towards winning a prize. And the biggest prize, was, I can't even remember. But all I ended up getting was, I don't even know what you'd call it, but it wraps around your ankle. It looks like a fucking jail ball. You know those jail balls that get strapped to prisoners' ankles? So that weighs them down so they can't run away? It's like that, except it's made out of plastic. And you flick it around in a circle and jump over it with the other foot. And it's light, it's not heavy. But that's what I won, in a water bottle. I didn't sell very much because while I was selling the chocolate bars, I was walking along. My friend was with me, and we were probably on our 5th house. I got to the front porch. I was about to knock on the door or ring the doorbell, whatever. And I just shit my pants really bad. And it was leaking down my leg, into my sock. And then I turned around and I'm like, we gotta go. And he's like, why? What happened? And I'm like, come over into this bush. We go into the bush. I pull my pants down. I'm like, you gotta look at my ass. He's like, why? What the fuck did you do? And I pulled my pants down and he took a look and he said, oh, it looks like someone smeared a chocolate bar in your ass. You know, it was so ironic, the fact that we were selling chocolate bars. And I had a diarrhea shit in my pants. We were only in grade 5 or 4, so we had to walk back to my house and I got cleaned up. And we went out for round 2. I think maybe we waited till the next day. But I shit myself when I was selling chocolate bars. But babies shit themselves too. Babies. Could you imagine if when babies were born, surgery was required at birth to transform you into a cyborg? Like sometime in the future, if the technology gets to a point where we're gonna have artificial hearts and artificial everything that works better than the real biological stuff that we have. So at birth, it would be just requirement or mandatory, or even if it wasn't mandatory, if it was just kind of like a thing that everybody does, it becomes a trend across everywhere that becomes so natural that if you don't do it, people look at you strange. So your child's born, and then like, okay, we're gonna have him for a month or 2, replacing his heart with a artificial heart, replacing his liver with this with that. His bladder's gonna be able to. He's gonna have a hookup he can hook up to a hose and drain his bladder wherever he wants. You know, shit like that. You'll just be like born with these cool. They take you aside and give you all these cool upgrades. And the farther we go into the future, like the mother of that child would have the older technology, and her child would have like the newer technology. She could have paid to get it upgraded, but the kid just gets it for free right away. After that, you gotta pay for it. I could see that happening, where you're yeah, it's just as natural as like circumcision was a while ago, where everyone just did it. You didn't have to do it, but if you didn't do it, people kind of looked at you funny. Like, why aren't you circumcised, bro? You should get your ass circumcised. Not your ass, but your dick. Your dicky. Your little dick hole. But maybe that was mostly just a Jewish thing, but a lot of other religions did it too, didn't they? I knew Catholic people who were circumcised. Wonder if Vince Gilligan's circumcised. Do you know who Vince Gilligan is? He is the creator of Breaking Bad. And now he's doing Better Call Saul. I saw Vince Gilligan live when I was in Vancouver. I was going to Vancouver Film School. And Vince Gilligan came to do a talk on stage in Vancouver. And I was like, hell fucking yeah, buddy. I'm going to this. I think it was because of the fact that... Or no, I had to pay for tickets. I thought I got them for free, but I didn't. But because I was at the film school, that's how I knew he was going to be in Vancouver, because I saw they had these little flyers you could pull out off the wall. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to this. And I had a Los Polos Hermanos shirt, the chicken franchise shirt. And oh yeah, so I go there and I see people from my film class there. And they're like, can we come in line where you're at? And I'm like, sure, whatever. Whatever, yo! Get in, bitch! I don't think that even happened, but I did see them there. I think they already had spots reserved. And I think we did end up sitting next to each other, me and all the people in the film class. And we watched Vince's favorite episode, which was the last episode of season 3, I think, where Face Off, where Gus gets his face blown off. That was his favorite episode. We watched that. And then Vince comes out and everyone cheers. And it was just basically a lot of questions, answers, which was really cool. I learned a lot about Breaking Bad. And while he was doing this on stage thing, there were still like 5 episodes left in the last season. So we still didn't even know how Breaking Bad was ending, but he had already finished it and he knew. So that was a cool thought to have while he was in the room talking. And it was like he was on stage and there was probably, I don't know how many people, over 100. Like there was people up in the balcony and shit, so 500, who knows? Couldn't even tell you what theater it was. Can't tell you anything about the place, but there was a lot of people there. Pretty cool how he can just go up on stage and just talk about his creations and look at the money he made from it. I can't remember how much the tickets were. Probably like $10 average, but like it would get more expensive if you got one of the balcony seats. But that was that was a pretty fun time. I got things when I was living in Vancouver. I got my bike stolen. I had a bicycle to get around because I didn't have a car. Well, I did, but it was in Alberta. So I bought a bicycle, and a lock and a helmet, and a stand for my bicycle, for my phone to attach to my bicycle so I could use it as a GPS. Plus, I bought a portable charger to bring along with me so I could keep my phone on and charging while I was driving, so my phone didn't die while I was using the GPS. And one day, I had parked the bike out in front of the school in the bike rack where everyone is supposed to park their bike. Yeah, I fucking parked it, or I locked it on the wheel, stupidly. Very stupid of me, but I figured, there's all these shit ton of other bikes here. There was barely any room on the rack to get it in position onto the frame of the bike. So I could only get the wheel in enough to lock it, and I was like, okay, that should do. But then no, there was hundreds of bikes just all crammed in there, and mine ended up being the one that they took. All they did was unbolt the wheel, left the wheel, and took the rest of the bike. It was a mongoose mountain bike with street tires. And yeah, she got stolen. Someone left a note on the tire. It was all taped up on the wheel and said, "I saw the guy who took it. He put it in the back of his truck. I didn't call the cops or anything. But I'm just leaving this note to let you know that I saw the guy." Okay, that doesn't help me at all. I called the Kiz Ops, and they didn't do anything. So my bike got stolen. But whatever. I didn't stress over it too much. But as a young child, even 4 years old, I used to steal a lot. From probably the age of 4 till about 6 or 7, I would steal all the time. From stores, from Walmart, Zellers especially. Even friends' houses. I would go to friends' houses if I liked a toy they had. That was mine, bitch. I was taking it. But I got out of that phase. But damn, I fucking loved stealing. I'll give you some stories of stuff I stole. I'd go to the malls with my mom, and I don't know, I just see stuff. And I guess there wasn't those scanners that would beep if you crossed the line with something unpaid for, because I would steal so much. Just like rings or toys, especially, just things I would like, things a kid would like. I never really remember specifically. I just know it was stuff that a kid would steal, and I never really got caught. I only got caught when I showed my mom the stuff that I stole. She was like, "Why'd you steal this?" And I got in trouble. But she kind of liked some of the stuff I stole. She took it. But that was a long time ago. And she was like, "Do not steal. You gotta stop this shit." And I never did it again. But I got away with it every time that I did it. Until I confessed. So who knows how long I could have kept that act up. I could have kept stealing. What is stealing called? Something phobia? Or kleptomaniac. That's it. Kleptomaniac. I was a little kleptomaniac, and I could have grew up to be a kleptomaniac. But speaking of phobias and stuff, claustrophobia, it reminded me of a story. Claustrophobia. When I was walking, there was a nature trail in my old hometown of Sydney, Nova Scotia. There's a place. My junior high school is called SPEC. That was the acronym, Sherwood Park Education Center. And in behind it, there still is, this nature trail, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. If you go in there, it's just constant flowing rivers and fish and squirrels everywhere. There's little benches where you put nuts and squirrels can come and eat, and you watch the squirrels eat. And it's just forest and forest. And these nice trails, nice bridges over water, and it is nice. But anyway, I went there. I used to go there all the time, actually. But I went there once. And one of my things to do was to put some music on and just go for a walk throughout the entire trail and explore different paths. Because there were different paths you could take. And, you know, it would go all over the place. So it took a while to explore the entire whole trail. There's maps here and there where you can pick up where you're at. And I took this one path where it's just bushes along each side of you, and they're well above my head. They're probably 12 feet high, and they're just straight. And it just goes and goes. And then it kind of starts to turn a little bit. So then you look behind you, and it's just bush. And then you look in front of you, and it's just bush. So then I had to take my headphones out, because I was like, okay, now I got to start listening. Because I felt like anything could just pop up from up above or from through the bushes. The claustrophobia, I've realized at that moment I have claustrophobia. I could feel it. I felt that feeling that people talk about when they say it feels like the walls are coming in, because it did feel like that. I took my music out, and I had a little bit of a panic attack, and I kept going, and it didn't last very long. The bushes just turned into trees, and then it was forest again. It probably wasn't that intense as I'm describing it, but it felt like that at the time. I definitely felt the claustrophobia kick in. Very, very vivid, like a lucid dream. Which is what I love to do. Ow. I love lucid dreaming. Or I love the idea of lucid dreaming, I should say, because I've only really had one and a partial lucid dream. I had one really well experienced lucid dream, and then the other one was as soon as I was aware that I was lucid dreaming, I snapped out of it, which is very common. And I discovered it in 2010 when my friend Keegan McLeod introduced it to me, and we would practice it while I was there, and then when we'd have sleepovers and whatnot, and then when I'd do it at home, and then I've been trying to do it ever since. And I'd use binaural beats to help me produce a lucid dream, which binaural beats are basically these strange frequencies. What they'll do is they'll put one frequency in this ear and a different frequency in the other ear. And when they're listened together, it almost sounds like a wobbly effect. But that's just what you're perceiving. It's not actually doing that. But anyway, that helps. It's supposed to help induce lucid dreams, which it hasn't really helped much. But you gotta do it right. Like, there's different methods for lucid dreaming. One is the wild technique, the wake inducive lucid dreaming, or something like that. We set an alarm for, or maybe, I don't know, it's either the wild or the mild. One of the techniques. You set an alarm for like 2, 3 in the morning. So you wake up. So like after you're in a deep, deep sleep, so that alarm's gonna wake you up at 2, 3 in the morning. You'll wake up still fucking half asleep, not knowing what's going on. And you shut the alarm off, and you just sit there and do some, they call them, what do they call them? Something test. like a wake test or something. You feel you do these different tests like they do in Inception, where he had the spinning top to see if the top fell over, that means he's in real world. But if the top continued to spin, if the top continues to spin, then that means he's in the dream world. Those things. So you do stuff like that to show that you're in the real world, but focus on the idea that you're about to go into a lucid state. And the fact that you're still half asleep, half awake is what's going to really help you. Because then when you go back to sleep, you're going to... So after that, you go back to sleep. So like 2 minutes tops, you stay awake. Go back to sleep. Or just lay in the bed. I mean, close your eyes. Focus on lucid dreaming. Say, I am going to concentrate on lucid dreaming. And focus on it. Focus on your breath. Focus on the scenario you want to be in. And then it kind of just flows over you. As long as you stay nice and still and relaxed, you'll feel yourself transition from the real world into this lucid world. And then once you're in there, you do those little tests again. You go up to a clock, and you won't be able to read the clock. Numbers are hard to read, and even books are hard to read. So none of that will make sense to you. And then you pinch yourself, it doesn't hurt. But usually when people get to that state of lucid dreaming, it's so shocking, and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then you wake up because you realize you're dreaming. You have to realize you're dreaming, but don't overdo it. Don't panic. Because as soon as that happens, you'll wake up. And then it's very hard to get back into it once you wake up. Because you're so excited now, you're going to be awake. You're not going to be half asleep. So, the one lucid dream I had where... I'll give you the first one where I half had it. I did everything right. I did the waking up, and then I fell asleep again. And then as I was fading into it, I was in this hotel building, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a lucid dream. I know this is a lucid dream. And then I just woke up. But I knew it was a lucid dream. It felt so real, and it's amazing when it happens. It really feels like... It feels so real. It's crazy. It's the ultimate virtual reality. It really is. And there's people who practice it, and they have it down so down pat, that they can just do it every night. They go to a different world every night, and it's incredible. It's so incredible. But anyway, the other dream that I had, it lasted, I don't know, it didn't last too long. Felt like it lasted 5 minutes. But in the dream state, it felt longer. So this time I wasn't even trying to lucid dream. I had woken up probably around 5 in the morning by accident, probably because my cat was meowing to come into my bedroom or something. So I woke up, opened the door, let the cat, and went right back to sleep. And I just fell into a lucid state without even trying. And I'm like, oh, whoa. Because I was so tired. And I was in this lucid state. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm on this street, and there's a yellow Lamborghini in front of me. So I get in it, and I drive a little bit. And I remember there being some sort of what do you call it? Not lizard, but like Tyrannosaurus Rex. It wasn't it wasn't like Jurassic Park style, but there was a T-Rex there. It was totally normal, like people expected it. It wasn't doing any damage. And there was an Asian woman who came up to me, and she showed me this flyer, and she says, you have to fly. You try. Something like that. And then I woke up after that. Yeah, but if I could have kept that going, kept controlling it, it's all about practicing, and if you keep practicing it and doing it, You know, eventually you can control it every time. And it's so fun. Even that 5 minutes just being there was probably the most fun I've ever had. And they say flying is the best thing to do. So maybe that's what that Asian woman was trying to tell me. Because that's what Keegan told me. The guy who introduced me to lucid dreaming, Keegan, he told me flying. He said he experienced flying in a lucid dream. Whether that's bullshit or not, I don't know. But even online, everyone says the flying is the best. Because you can just do it. It's like in Super Mario 64. You put the hat on, you just jump, and fly. So that's what it would be like in the dream. Do a couple hippity hops and flickety fly in the izzity air, biatch. Seeing all the clouds. You ever get those shapes in your eyes? Like you'll do a nice stretch and you'll see like it's like stars. Like right before you're about to pass out. But also just like when you're not even about to pass out. The colored objects floating around. Usually after you look at a light and stuff. They say it's well, the lines, little line floaties that you see, those are microscopic hairs or particles of whatever floating in the water juices that are on the surface of your pupil. And it's basically like you're a microscope. Because we normally don't have shit that close to us. But this thing's that close to our eyeball that we can see it. It's like our eyes are our microscope. Take some bacteria, put it on your eye. Oh yeah, I see what's going on here. And then take it out. Don't even need microscopes. That's why ancient historians figured shit out so easily. People always wondered, how do they know about the atom and this and that? They just plunked her in their eye, in the eye fluid. They knew their eyes were microscopes. I'm just kidding, by the way. That's false information. That's alternative facts, my friend. I got an itchy nostril. So we've been going for like a little over 30 minutes, I think. And we got how many topics left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, a couple of them are kind of weird. But see, I was doing a nice flow there. You could kind of tell when I was transitioning in between topics. But what I'll do is I'll look, while I'm telling a story, I'll look ahead and see what's coming up next and try to relate it to something. I'm taking a little intermission right now. So we can just chillax, sit back, relax, and smoke nice. You know what I'm saying? For those people who wants to toke and watch me, for whatever reasons you got, go ahead. Now's the time. We've probably been doing it the whole time anyway. But next on the list is actually gangster rap. Notice that there's all kinds of gangster rap CDs on this back wall here. So let's just discuss these. Ooh. Gangsta. We got over here Ice Cube, Death Certificate. This is the album that featured on the death side of the CD. He's got two sides. The life side and death side, I think. Anyway, on the death side, the last song is No Vaseline, which is the NWA disc that started a bunch of shit. Right here we got the notorious B.I.G. G.I.E. B.I.G. Get it, Biggie. He's notorious as one of the best, greatest rappers of all time, of all titty time. And he got shot. You all know the story. Biggie Smalls. That's his greatest hits album, though. Who do we got next? Eminem. Eminem Encore. Don't know the backstory behind it, but it's Eminem. Then we got Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. Let's ask Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. I got a question, if I may. See, Eminem did that. Sang those lyrics. But this is his newest album, Dr. Dre. It's called Compton. City of Compton. That's the city he grew up in, because he's a gangster. He's the original gangster. He started the gangster shit. And this the motherfucking thanks he gets? That's right. That's one of his lines. Ice Cube says it. Ren says it. I think Snoop Dogg even says it too. In Chin Check. W-A-A. Speaking of NWA, this is their first album here. Straight Outta Compton! Last episode I showed you the Ruthless Records record. Which, Eazy-E, where's that guy? There's Easy. Where's Easy? What the fuck do we got going on in here? Okay, we got Ice Cube, DJ Yella, Dr. Dre, MC Ren, Eazy-E. Is that the DOC? I don't know. I don't know why there's that many guys on there. But what was I saying about that? Straight Outta Compton. That was their first album. And then Goblin, Tyler the Creator, I mean, he's doing all kinds of shit. He did the Bill Nye the Science Guy's new show's theme song. Nirvana Unplugged, that was when they were on MTV. Unplugged episode. Then we got Ice Cube Greatest Hits. Good old Ice Cube. Snoop Doggy Style. First Snoop Dogg album. Dr. Dre, The Chronic. And then Snoop Dogg Bush, which is, I do not recommend that album. I'm sorry, I love Snoop Dogg, but I do not like Pharrell Williams' style of producing. So I do not recommend Bush. So although the album artwork is what got me. I was hesitant about the Pharrell. If the album artwork wasn't so appealing, I wouldn't have bought it. Because as soon as I saw Pharrell, I was like, this might not be that good. I mean, it's good stuff. It's just not my style. I don't like that chippy, cheery style. I like hard gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? If y'all gonna be a gangster, then be a motherfucking gangster. Biatch. And then we got Eminem Curtain Call, don't know the history. Eminem the Re-Up, don't know the history, but I do know he's got a good song on there called Jimmy Can Crack Comb, but I don't care. And that was really the only reason why I bought that one. And then we got the Slim Shady LP. What's up? And then I got a bunch more in my truck, but they do not have CD cases. They got lost in the abyss. Plus, I have a bunch of burnt CDs from back in the day when I was a 12-year-old kid. You know when we used to use iMesh? You know when we used to use LimeWire? I think I might have talked about this already. But we used to do that. It was all about whoever could pirate the most was the best. And people would come to people and pay money for pirated movies because they'd make a little profit, sell them for cheaper than you would buy at Walmart. People would come to me to put music on their iPods. It was crazy. You don't see that much anymore, and internet service providers are tracking that, and they will send you a message. I know Telus gives you like a 3-strike thing, and 3 strikes and you're out, motherfucker. You ain't getting no internet because you a fucking criminal. And then the FBI is going to come and they're going to lock you up. All that FBI bullshit you heard all throughout the 90s, all throughout the 2000s, is you all pushed that aside and said, who cares? The FBI hasn't caught anyone. Well, now they're cracking down. And if you do it nowadays, you're going to get caught. And you're going to get put in jail. So that's why I don't do that anymore. But I did it once. Gangsters do it. Shake your titties, bitch. Put 'em up in the air. Shake your titties, bitch. Shake, shake, shake your titties. Shake your titties. Shake your titties, y'all. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Boom. Boom. Shake, 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 shake. Boom. Shake, shake your titties. Boom, 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 boom. I got big titties. Well, the last item on this card said shake your titties, so I figured I'd just do a little titty song. Because we got another card, bitches, for episode 11, but it's only got 2 ticks. Because it's only 6:44 in the PM. I usually record these at about 9 at night. I like doing stuff at a specific time of the night. I don't know why. But if, like, I'm the kind of person who would like to take a bath every now and then. I like baths. They're soothing. It's like getting in a hot tub, except not as good. And I only like to do it at night. I don't like doing it in the day. Because it's a relaxing thing, and you want to relax in the nighttime. If you get a bath in the middle of the day, you're just sitting in the tub. Like, I could be writing. I could be doing something. But to get a bath at night, you know, you have nothing to do, nothing to worry about. You're like, okay, I did all my shit throughout the day. Now I can sit in the tizub and get my bub on. If you like bubbles. Some people don't like bubbles. There was a clown also in my hometown of Sydney. Goes by the name of Bubbles, and she is a female clown, which you don't see very often. Unless you watch The Big Comfy Couch, which I talked about in previous episodes. Because there was a guy in the chat named Big Comfy Crotch. So in Canada, there was a show called Big Comfy Couch. There was a girl, she was a clown, and she had a massive couch and a doll that was also a clown, but it was a doll, and she would talk to it, and it wouldn't talk back, but it would make hand gestures and stuff. And there was dust mites under the couch. They would make noise and build shit. They had arms. There was a cat named Snickle Fritz. He didn't talk, but he liked to fuck around. And then there was a guy who rode a unicycle and delivered mail. Major Bedhead. Because he wore a bicycle helmet and his red hair used to stick through the holes in the bicycle helmet. So he was Major Bedhead, the mail delivery guy on a unicycle. Clowns. They're all clowns. Clown City. So I guess I should say this. When they're on the couch, the whole set of the show is this couch in this white room, and she walks out of this white room and she can go to this exercise room with this clock on the floor where she does exercises, bird's eye view, and then if she walks past the couch out the door, now she's outside at her grandma's house, and that's where Major Bedhead shows up with the mail while she leaves the doll in the house. And usually when she comes back, the doll fucks shit up, and something went down. But anyway, while she's at her grandma's house, the grandma's a clown. She comes out. I can't remember her name. Snickle Fritz is the grandmother's cat. And there's some other characters. I don't know why I brought it up. But that's the Big Comfy Couch. It's the Big Comfy Couch with Luna and Molly, her clown and her dolly on the Big Comfy Couch. Lunette likes to toodle doo. And blah 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 blue blue. Bop bop me mana 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 mana. Mana 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 mana. Get ready. All over and under the big comfy couch. Oh, and there was also a doll house with even smaller dolls that were alive, and they were a whole family, and they had their little sub show within the show where they'd run around and spill coffee on each other. They were fools. They were clumsy fools, and they didn't talk either. They didn't have mouths. A lot of people in the show didn't talk. They were in horror. They hated their lives, but they couldn't speak, so they had to obey everything that Lunette did. Lunette was the main clown on the couch. What a great show. And she was hot, too. They don't make kids' TV shows like they did back in the day. And that song I was just singing, that was the actual theme song. They actually said words, but I couldn't remember most of them. That's where I learned how to do most of the alphabet backwards. Because I heard as a kid that if you get pulled over and the cops want to test if you're drunk, you have to say the alphabet backwards. And I said to myself, well, I can't even say that right now, and I've never drank before. So I gotta learn this shit. I gotta learn how to say the alphabet backwards. And it happened to be on an episode of Big Comfy Couch, and I watched it over and over again. So all I got was Z Y X W V U T S R Q P. That's it. I think I had the whole thing down at one point. But not anymore, bitch. Yeah, a lot of kids used to watch that show. There's kids in I had a special class in my school called special ed, I think. And people would call it spec ed. Oh, you're a spec ed kid, get away from me. The spec ed kids were their own group, and we didn't associate with them. And even kids with autism would get put in the special ed program. So they take kids with syndromes of whatever kind, whether it's a learning disability, autism, Down syndrome, whatever they have. If it's any different than the norm, you'd get put in this classroom and get taught a different way. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm just saying that's what happened in the school I went to. And I was just thinking about autism and how smart people with autism are, and how the creations they can create without having to deal with emotional things. They don't really get as emotional as you or I would. If you come to them with the problem, they want to solve the problem if it concerns them. But if it doesn't, they don't make a fuss about it. They just move on. They're completely rational in the way they talk and everything they do. And I like that. And not only that, they think a different way. It's just constant focus and dedication to whatever their interest is. Suck me dick. That's the last tick on the card. Suck me dick. Sometimes I just hear something funny or think of something funny, and I'm like, I'm writing that down on the card just to fill up some space. And then I get down and just sit down to do the podcast, and I read these words, and I'm like, fuck, how am I supposed to transition to that? Like, suck me dick? What does that mean? I just thought it was funny in my head. I probably pictured an Irish guy being like, oh, suck me dick. That was an Irish impression. I'm not good at impressions. I can do a few, but barely any. Actually, I can't do any. I sit down, I practice it sometimes, but it's not easy. Joe Rogan, and I know I bring him up a lot, but he's influenced me quite a bit lately. But he's really good at impressions. He doesn't do them very often, but when he does do them, he's pretty good at them. Whether he knows it or not, I think he's pretty good at them. Ding dong ding, I smell you like my ching. Ching chong ching, I want Chinese food. Sucks when you want Chinese food, but the Chinese food restaurant in your small town of 3,000 people is closed forever. No, it's coming back. It's coming back. Whoops. If I lived in a big city, which I did multiple times, but I plan on going back to a big city eventually. Right now, it's not happening. Small cities, you don't have the option to just go and buy stuff. You gotta order it online. But when it comes to food, or restaurants, you only got like 3 to choose from. 3. And sometimes one of them's closed, or 2 of them's closed, or they're all closed at the same time. If you live in a big city, you have vast choice. If one McDonald's is getting renovated, you go to another one. And I'm not saying McDonald's is the right choice, because it's not. But let's talk about restaurants. Not all restaurants are bad. But if the one you love is getting renovated, you could go to, there's probably another one a few kilometers or miles away, or even just a different restaurant that's just as similar you could go to. I don't know, I'm just blabbling on. But I guess I should end this podcast. Welcome to episode 11, or you should say welcome. Should say goodbye. Fuck yeah. Goodbye. You've just watched episode 11 of Dynamite-Gizmo podcast. I hope it made you reflect on your childhood memories. And I hope it made you wet in the puss area. Or in the butthole area. Or in the pee-pee area. Whatever your heart's desire. Just remember, if you're going to get surgery, get yourself a good working fake heart. You don't want a shitty false heart, or else you will die. Peace to the Middle East. I'm Cheech and Chong, bro.